Welcome to WestfordCAT's weekly news show. I'm Alex Svensson. It's the middle of October and we've got some big stories for you this week. Let's begin with this week's top stories. 2 students were taken to the hospital following a 2-car crash involving a school bus on Interstate 495 in Westford on Tuesday, October 14th. The Westford Fire Department, Littering Fire Department, and Massachusetts State Police responded to a call around 3 p.m. on that day, reporting that a school bus van had crashed in the southbound side of the highway, just over the Littleton town line and shortly before exit 80, which is the exit for Route 19 in Littleton, Groton. State police troopers said 2 students on the bus suffered minor injuries and were transported by Littleton Fire EMS to a nearby hospital, and it's not yet clear what condition the students are in. Westford Fire EMS was also at the scene, but Westford Fire Chief Mike Dennehy said they did not need to transport anyone else to the hospital and were cleared from the scene by Littleton firefighters shortly after they arrived. It's not yet clear what caused the crash, which remains under investigation by the Massachusetts State Police. Westford Public Schools recently became the target of a resident who submitted an opinion piece to WestfordCAT, which said the school's department policy on transgender and gender nonconforming students violates the long-standing federal statute known as Title IX of the Educational Amendments Act. I spoke with Superintendent Christopher Chu, School Committee Chair Catherine Clear, and Select Board Member Sean Kelly, and asked them what their responses to the accusations were.
A Westford resident who submitted an opinion piece to WestfordCAT, which was published on October 3rd, criticized Westford Public Schools and the Westford School Committee for their policy on transgender and gender nonconforming students, which the resident argued goes against Title IX of the Educational Amendments Act. More specifically, the resident said the school committee, quote, actively discriminates against young girls by permitting its boys to participate in interscholastic athletics in a manner consistent with their gender identity. Additionally, the resident said the school committee, quote, has also decided to allow its boys to access the female restrooms, locker rooms, or changing facilities if the boys decide that those places correspond to their gender identity. Title IX is a federal law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. It states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. In his opinion piece, the resident refers to a federal court ruling in January 2025, which found that the Department of Education under former President Joe Biden in 2024 had exceeded its statutory authority under Title IX by expanding the definition of protection from sex to gender identity, and recognized the rewrite as, quote, arbitrary and capricious. Referencing this ruling, the resident said the Westford Public Schools are risking losing federal funding by going against this ruling and violating Title IX. WestfordCAT spoke with Superintendent Christopher Chu and asked him about the gender policy at Westford Public Schools and if it is in violation of Title IX. Our policy and all the policies we have, but specifically the policy in question about transgender and gender nonconforming students, is following Massachusetts state law, Chu told WestfordCAT. The laws in Massachusetts are very clear as to enrollment and to access that students have, and making sure that the policies that we have in place are not discriminating against any students. The Title IX regulations have adjusted over the last couple of years. The previous administration had made some changes to the Title IX laws, and then the current administration changed them again. In both cases, we've been aligning our policies to the Massachusetts state laws, which are more protective than federal laws, and states are allowed to do that. In his opinion piece, the resident also accused the school committee of exercising a policy that, quote, instructs school staff to conspire with students who don't wish to divulge to their parents that they have been transitioning at school, and that, quote, teachers have been instructed to work closely with the student to assess the degree to which, if any, the parent or guardian or caregiver will be involved in the transition process. WestfordCAT spoke with School Committee Chair Catherine Clear and asked her if such a policy is practiced at Westford Public Schools. According to state laws, kids over the age of 14 have the right to keep information that they tell a staff member confidential, Clear said. Our staff include qualified guidance and adjustment counselors and school psychologists. Their first priority is working with the student and what their social and emotional well-being is. So older students do have some autonomy over their school life, but it's more about staff supporting students. It's not like they're purposely trying to keep information from their parents. That's not the case at all. Finally, addressing the residents' claim that Westford Public Schools are risking losing federal funding due to their gender policy, WestfordCAT asked Select Board member and lawyer Sean Kelly if that was a possibility. In Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 76, Section 5603, Court of Regulations 26, essentially take Title IX one step further and say that educational institutions cannot discriminate on the basis of gender identity, Kelly said. Federal law, state law, and municipal law can all exist so long that they are not in conflict with each other. The regulations that we have in place in Massachusetts are not in conflict with Title IX because Title IX does not prohibit states from protecting students on the basis of gender identity. So to say that both laws cannot exist together is simply not true. The current state law is not in conflict with federal law, and a federal court has yet to file a lawsuit stating that it is in conflict. Title IX states schools must prevent discrimination on the basis of sex. It says nothing about gender identity.
The Massachusetts Senate's Committee on Ways and Means, who Westford State Senator John Cronin is a member of, voted unanimously on Thursday, October 9th to advance legislation expanding access to disposable menstrual products, promoting transparency around menstrual products ingredients, and protecting utility workers and drivers of stranded vehicles. The Senate later debated all three bills during their full session the following Thursday, October 16th. The first bill, S-2640, supports public health and hygiene by expanding access to necessary products like tampons and pads in public schools, homeless shelters, and jails and prisons. The Senate said the bill mirrors a proposal that was unanimously supported in 2023. The bill was originally filed by Senator Patricia Jelen and was advanced by the Joint Committee on Public Health on July 10th on a 5-0 vote. The next bill, S-2641, promotes public health and consumer rights by making the ingredients of products like tampons and pads clearly available on both retail packages and manufacturer websites. Originally filed by Senator Joanne Comerford, the bill was given a favorable report by the Joint Committee on Public Health, which also voted 5-0 to approve it on July 10th. The final bill, S-2642, improves the safety drivers and telecom, gas, and electric workers by requiring motorists to slow down as they approach stationary utility trucks or stranded vehicles with flashing lights. Under the Move Over law, drivers passing these vehicles must then proceed with caution and, if possible on a major highway, change lanes to safely pass the stationary car or truck. The bill, sponsored by Senator Brendan Crichton, was advanced on a 7-0 vote by the Joint Committee on Transportation on July 7th. That's it for our top stories. Now let's turn it over to our reporter Emily Collins, who will tell us about some recent issues in Westford involving littering and public health.
Thank you, Alex. The Westford Public Works and Police Department recently issued a warning alerting residents about an increase in illegal dumping and littering cases across town. Over the past few months, Westford has seen a noticeable increase in illegal dumping and littering across our conservation lands, roadsides, school parking lots, and athletic fields, Public Works said in a statement. This behavior hurts everyone. It damages our environment, drives up cleanup costs, and affects the quality of life in our neighborhoods. Illegal dumping refers to residents who throw trash and other waste in unauthorized locations, including vacant lots, alleys, roadsides, or public areas instead of using designated trash facilities. Such acts are illegal under Massachusetts law and also violate the town of Westford's rules and regulations for conservation lands. According to Public Works, littering also costs taxpayers thousands of dollars in cleanup each year and affects multiple town departments and staff. Dumped trash can also block storm drains, cause flooding, and pollute local waterways. Additionally, wildlife and pets can be seriously harmed by discarded debris and hazardous materials. The Westford Police Department is asking for your help to prevent illegal dumping in our community, police said in a statement. Recently, we've seen an increase in trash and debris being left in unauthorized areas. Illegal dumping puts a strain on our town staff, harms our environment, and can result in criminal charges. Westford residents are encouraged by Public Works and police to report any illegal dumping or littering cases to police at 978-399-2345. On Tuesday, October 14th, the Westford Health Department released the Community Health Assessment and Community Health Improvement Plan for years 2025 to 2029. The health department said the community's top health priorities include mental health, including promoting mental well-being and support systems, substance use, including providing resources and support to combat substance abuse, chronic disease and wellness, including encouraging healthy lifestyles to reduce chronic illnesses, environmental health, including ensuring a clean and safe environment for all, and finally, infectious diseases, including strengthening the health department's response to the prevention of infectious diseases. To learn more, residents can visit the health department's website at westfordma.gov/health department, or they can contact Health Director Ray Dick at 978-692-5509 or rdick@westfordma.gov. Now back to you, Alex.
Thank you for sharing those important stories with us, Emily. The Westford Historical Commission and Westford Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee held the town's annual Indigenous Peoples Day commemoration on the town common on Saturday.
The event marks the second consecutive year the town commemorated Indigenous Peoples Day, which the town officially recognized in 2023 after residents voted in favor of the recognition following a recommendation from the town's DEI committee. The featured speaker at Saturday's event was Larry Spotted Crow Mann, an award-winning author and nationally recognized speaker who was a member of the Hassanimisco Nipmuc tribe, whose territory includes Westford.
The Nipmuc homeland was once a vast area comprising almost 2/3 of Massachusetts, or roughly 4,000 square miles in this state alone.
Also featured at the event was Nipmuc flute artist Strong Eagle Daly, who shared traditional music and cultural teachings through meditative flute playing. Indigenous Peoples Day honors Native American history and culture while acknowledging the past hardships Indigenous people face and the ongoing presence of Indigenous people across the country. The DEI committee said the commemoration is important in Westford as the town is located on land that includes part of the Nipmuc, Pawtucket, and Neshoba tribal territory. WestfordCAT spoke to Larry Spotted Crow Mann and asked him about why Native American representation is so important in Massachusetts.
The first thing I want people to realize is that Native peoples are still here. The Nipmuc people are still here. We're not of the past. We have present-day goals, present-day challenges. You know, we're a contemporary people with our ancient cultures that are still intact. And so I think it's important to build that into the curriculum so that people can learn and normalize the teachings and understandings of the first peoples of this land.
The Cameron Senior Center held a Lunch and Learn event last Friday dedicated to spreading awareness about home safety to Westford senior residents. The event featured speakers from the Westford Health Department, the Westford Fire Department, Westford Police Department, and Westford Habitat from Humanity, while the lunch was sponsored by Westford Remembers. WestfordCAT attended the event to learn more.
The Cameron Senior Center hosted an educational home safety event this past Friday in order to help inform Westford senior citizens on fire safety, scam awareness, and health and wellness procedures. Westford firefighter Ryan Monet, Westford Police Detective Ian McEnany, and Westford Health Department Director Ray Dick and public nurse Gail Johnson were all featured as guest speakers at the event.
The fire department doesn't accept recycling or fire extinguishers per se. There are places that do that for recycling of those things. If you're just, when I've had it for 20-something years, I'm not sure it's going to work, I'm just going to recycle it. That would be the best thing.
Monet explained fire safety best practices to the seniors, including tips on smoke alarms, fire extinguisher usage, evacuating a house fire, and how to handle pets during a fire. He also offered tips on home safety, including reducing trip hazards, installing handlebars and night lights, and setting a timer when cooking. McEnany informed the seniors about different types of scams, including investment scams, charity scams, government impersonation scams, tech support scams, grandparent scams, and romance scams.
We'll speak about the romance, trust scam, the grandparent scam, tech support, government impersonation, sweepstakes, lottery, inheritance scam, investment scam, charity scam, family and caregiver scam, the package QR code, and then some false social media advertisements.
Dickon Johnson then presented the seniors with information on medicine disposal, including pill disposal and needle disposal, and also presented several health services offered by the town to senior citizens, including health insurance programs, dental programs, and special needs programs.
We do have what's called a special needs registry here in the community. This is something that the health department works very closely with our first responders and any kind of emergency management of illness.
During the presentations, a light lunch was provided by Westford Remembers.
Now let's have a look at our weather forecast for this week. Following a mild and pleasant weekend with mostly sunny skies, another round of rain is expected to make its way into the region at the start of the week, with a chance of rain for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday is expected to be a bit drier with partly cloudy skies and cooler temperatures, and it'll remain dry and the temperatures will remain in the area for Thursday and Friday with highs around 60 degrees, which is pretty normal for this time of year. Fall foliage is expected to also be peaking this week around Westford. However, the colors will not be as vibrant as they in previous years due to warmer temperatures and a lack of rainfall. That's all for this week's weather forecast. Now let's take a look at sports for this week. The Westford Academy Ghosts football team are looking for another win at home when they take on the Chelmsford Lions on Friday. The Ghosts' last home win was on September 26 when they shut out Wayland 35-0, which was their first home win of the season. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. at the Trustees Field at Alumni Stadium in Westford. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots will be back at home on Sunday when they take on the Cleveland Browns. The Patriots, who have been toe-to-toe with the Buffalo Bills for the top spot in the AFC East, are hoping for a home win against Cleveland on Sunday. The Patriots have done pretty well on the road during the past few weeks, with important wins against the Buffalo Bills and New Orleans Saints earlier this month. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. on Sunday at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. That's all for this week's edition of WestfordCAT News. We'll return on Sunday, October 26th with more stories. I'm Alex Svensson, and thank you for watching WestfordCAT.